My why is to humanize the tech. The company started with the mass layoff. I had 10 minutes to lay off a couple of people. I had a much more human approach. I was trying to appear as the strong manager who is following the rules. I started crying. The person I was firing, he was trying to consolate me. He was like, hey, don't worry, I will be fine. Those people that I laid off are now my good friends. As we have KPIs, emotions are giving you track of are you in the right path or not. Emotions and humanity is a superpower that AI cannot replace. You really need to put the people in the center of everything you do. There are so many people like in this sort of awakening process. And I want to say that again. I am a change maker.
I am a change maker.
Yes.
Roberta, I'm very excited to have you in the Core Impact podcast. And first of all, if you like to start with an exercise, something that you do usually when you start your workshops. 1-2 minutes, something quick.
Yes, I would love. Okay. Hi, Omer, and it's a pleasure to be here as well. I guess, are you talking about mindfulness?
Yes, something that brings us back to the present moment.
For the two of us. Okay.
Yes. Anyone who hears us, though.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I wasn't expecting that, and I'm actually it's perfect because I didn't have time to do that before. So okay, let's start with that. Okay, let's take a very whole breath. Close your eyes if you want to. Feel the emotions rising, and keep on with your breathing. Just in and out. Once more. Just feel your, just leave this emotion. Think about how you're feeling now. Maybe a little bit nervous, maybe excited. This is a joyful moment for me, as we want together to spread our voice. So let's focus on our goal with our mind curious, with our body fully present, allowing everything and let them flow. And with a very open heart. Once more, just breath in and out. How do you feel, Omar?
I feel more relaxed.
Me too.
Thank you very much, Roberta. I would like to start now the first question in the podcast with your why. Why do you focus on mental health and tech at the same time?
Well, it's like, when you play with the dart, I think they're called, it's like you just the why it's so hard to explain, right? Because it's something that you actually feel. You feel in your body and in your heart, in your mind. You feel really like aligned when it's your why, and you can feel it. My why is to humanize the tech. tech environment, tech industry, because that's the place where I've been for over 15 years, I would say. And there is a big need, and the need started within myself and with the people around me. So again, it was a need, and I'm trying to turn that need into something that creates impact.
Mm.
That's my why. I also feel better while I'm doing that. That helps quite a lot, and I want to help other people feeling the same as I do right now and in this very period.
As I ask my guests about their why, I also like to share mine. Why I started the Core Impact podcast. After working across companies, cities, and cultures, I kept noticing the same pattern. Most people around me were burned out, disengaged, and only lived for the weekend. I also experienced it myself. I went through a burnout, and I knew since then that I couldn't come back to the same patterns and mindset. What I've learned since, from connecting with experts and personal experiences, is that small shifts in routines and mindset can dramatically reduce stress and lead to more fulfilling work. That's why I created this podcast, to explore how can we build workplaces that are joyful, meaningful, and sustainable from the inside out, where profit meets purpose, because real impact starts at the core. What did burnout teach you that success didn't?
Well, a good question. So, first of all, I also want to speak about the burnout, just to give some context, right? So, I think I've been quite close to burnout during my tech career, quite a few times. Probably I simply wasn't aware that that was burnout, and then suddenly it
Mm.
came like a very even fashionable word, if you want, pass me the term, right? Like everyone is getting more aware. So the awareness is raising, and using the right words is extremely important. So burnout is when you actually feel you're burning out or you're already burned out, right? You already past that boundaries. And there was a time in 2020 where I actually became, it's not related to COVID, maybe perhaps, but the point is that I became mom in 2020. So 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago. Well, there is, I cannot explain what COVID was, because actually for me, it was a sort of positive environment where to be just right after becoming a mom. Because I was in a sort of a, what I call the bubble of love. Like I left the outside, staying outside of my house, and everything changed. And then so my son was born in March, 18th of March, so it was right in the middle. Here in Spain, I was in Barcelona, and my family is in Italy, so I was really really alone. And also Italy was living a tougher time, I would say, from a COVID perspective, because it's where everything started in Europe. In October, I came back to work, and I started feeling like I really wanted to go back, actually. So my son was in the kindergarten, despite a lot of people saying you're crazy. He's just 5 months old, and there is the COVID. I was really like feeling the call to go back and to feel not only a mom but also a person, and I wanted to go back. And there was my team at that time. I was working in another company, but I was a team. I wanted to know, I wanted to see them, and I wanted to, I don't know, I want to be myself. And I was actually looking for an older version of myself. So myself, I was expecting to be back the same as it was before becoming a mom. Like everything I left, there would be there, and everything will be back. Clearly, it wasn't. It wasn't the case, but not specifically for the rest of the people or the role or the company, because in fact, I was expecting a change. And I was there because I wanted to people like navigate through this change, after the COVID, and everyone started working in a remote environment. And instead, I realized that nothing really changed apart from the remote.
Mm.
And everyone was actually, apart from the first maybe couple of weeks where everyone was asking, how do you feel? Welcome back. This is so nice. And yada, it was like, but then they were expecting me to be exactly the same person I used to be before. And it took a while for me to recognize that I wasn't. I definitely wasn't. And it was so hard for me to lie, even to myself. I was trying so hard to be the person I used to be. And even at work, I was showing everyone I was the strong, always happy, like always motivating people. The truth is that I was really going through tough times. First of all, I was on a sleep deprivation. I was breastfeeding my son. I've been breastfeeding him for 3 years and 2 months. I feel very proud of that. And even the tech environment, it became after the COVID so much harder. There was a lot of layoff right after. Like so, I started in October, and then already in January, the company and the rest of tech industry started with the mass layoff. And unfortunately, I was the manager, so I had to lay off several people. And I remember I was actually on a leadership offsite here in Barcelona, where lots of people from around the world was gathering. And all of a sudden, my previous manager slacked me, asking to go back to my room, open the laptop, and letting me know that I had 10 minutes to lay off a couple of people, one in New York and the other in Singapore. People that I just hired like a few months before. And, depending on the countries, basically you have like a certain process that you have to follow. And specifically in the US, you can only read a script without saying nothing because that's the law. And then you close the laptop and you leave it for HR. This is what I did. And right after, I had to do the same with the Singapore, the person based in Singapore. And unfortunately, or maybe better, I don't know, I didn't have to follow the script. So I had a much more human approach, if I can say so. I don't know, but I had time to speak. And in that time where I was trying to appear as the strong manager who is following the rules, because, I started crying and it was so hard. And in the end, the person I was firing, he was trying to consolate me. He was like, hey, don't worry, I'm okay. I will be okay. I will be fine. In that time, in that moment, I really, yeah, that's funny, right? You can laugh. But in that time, I sort of realized that we needed that human touch. And I was like, oh my God, why I should be cold? I'm firing someone I've been hiring, like looking for, hiring, trying to get like development, trying to give a vision for the future. And then I'm asked like to fire him. I understand it's not my fault. It's how things work. And well, now we're since that moment, so many laid off is happening that I think that even that process is became more natural somehow, like something accepted. But that was for me one of the most important and turning point where I lived that burnout. I realized I had a burnout. After that, I couldn't work for a month. I couldn't open the laptop. I was reading and reading and reading, and it was every time the first word, and I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't sleeping well, but that was going like for like other month before. And it was not only for my son, it was also for the job, everything. It was like, okay, I need to do something. A few years have passed and I sort of kept that feeling, but somehow ignored because it was, I need to move on. So going back to your question that I didn't forget is like what the burnout taught me that success didn't, to feel, to allow myself to feel, to recognize that it's beautiful. Those people that I laid off, well, I had to convey the message to being laid off. Those are now my good friends.
Mm.
I've been visiting them in New York and Singapore, and they've been visiting me in Barcelona for
Mm.
3 times after that happened. And we already texting each other. They say I'm one of the best managers they had. So showing your vulnerability as a human being, it's okay. And it's even better in this tech environment where I've been sort of training myself as a manager. Success is performing, right? Every time. But the good question is, what is success for you?
Mm.
Like, what's the definition that you give to success? So for me, being successful as a manager, as a leader, it's been receiving those messages from those guys, rather than being able to read a script with no emotions in my face, and and letting those tears getting out of my body.
Mm. Ah, I think, I mean, here words cannot describe these feelings. I'm very grateful that you are coming back to these moments and explaining them again. And this is something that I think, from what I see in the workplace culture, that we are missing, and this is the where we have to head to have more humanized kind of relationships instead of just focusing on performance, on profit, because in the long term you cannot really have profit as a company and be sustainable without having this kind of human connection. How do you feel now, Roberto?
I'm living a moment where I feel a lot of energy, and this is coming from an sort of unexpected thing that happened very recently. I won't reveal, but it's part of my career as well. I'm in a what I like to call career alignment moment, not career break, as it used to be
Ah.
defined before. And I feel relieved. I feel energized. I feel positive. And again, to use the word that I used before, I feel aligned.
Mm.
And I think some magic is actually happening in these days because, you know, so now that I'm feeling like aligned, that I don't have the pressure to perform from a KPI standpoint, it's like to do something just because I need to keep going. It's like I left out something that was taking too much space from me. And now I can see the space, and that space is there to be filled by things that give me a lot of joy. And
Mm.
that magic that is happening is because things are happening that are truly aligned to myself and I wasn't expecting. So I don't know, like a call for cooperation, people like asking me to run some workshop. Even you for the podcast has been like, hey, but this is something really nice, really great. I want to do it. And not because I expect anything, in change, but I
Mm.
want to do it. I want to be present here. And if you think how we met like just a few months ago, and we had to share an experience and an exercise um, from one person that we also have in common, is Dr. Catherine. Um, that's great for me. It's magic.
Yeah, I'm grateful too. I'm grateful that we met, and I'm grateful that we're having this podcast together. Roberta, if you stripped away all of your titles, your achievements, and the tools that you have, what would still make you feel worthy?
That's a question I've been thinking about for probably too long. So it's nice that you are asking me in this very moment. I think it's the vitality that I have. It's like the energy that I have and I'm feeling in this very moment. It is also what I've been trying to control, to suppress in the
Mm.
past years. And now I feel like I cannot and I don't want to control it anymore. I want just to get it out of myself And I know this can sound a little bit naive, maybe, but and well, I will use something that I shared during the workshop in Vienna. I'm sure you remember that. I was told once to de-Sicilianize myself. Again, I'm not sure I can use this term, but basically it's to get rid of my being Sicilian. I'm Italian, coming from the beautiful Sicily, and that was because I had probably too much passion, too much energy.
Mm.
And you know what? I'm now feeling like the Etna volcano erupting with the lava. And it's such a beautiful and strong energy that I feel I want to share with everyone I had the privilege to speak with. And yeah, I don't want to be stopped anymore by no one telling me to stop being myself.
Beautiful, beautiful, Roberta. I love your energy. I'm gonna continue asking you now, if someone is listening to you and they are afraid to step off that traditional path, what would you tell them?
Uh, well, maybe you will be surprised, but what I want to tell them is that it's okay to feel scared. It's normal. Don't be afraid of being scared. Not be scared of doing or jumping or changing or whatever. Just have the courage to sit down with all your fears and demons, to look them right in their eyes, and to understand what they're trying to tell you, because there is a message behind the fear. And I've been escaping for too long that fear. One instead, fear was a friend of mine.
Mm.
So it's an inner journey, is not from one day to another. Trust yourself and the process. It's like it's already a starting point, right? If you're asking yourself, because it means you are already in that path to change. You just need to
Mm.
keep going, keep walking.
I mean, from what I know about you, that doesn't surprise me. You mentioned before that emotions are data.
Mm.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, exactly what I was saying before as well, but using like a more technical language so that it's also applicable, right, to like tech word, or yeah, people that don't speak like emotions language. They don't like, maybe they fear it. I don't know. It's like there is a message behind the emotions, and it's like a sort of code. You just need to be prepared to decoding that message or being open, right? So as we have KPIs or OKRs in business, so emotions are giving you track of, are you in the right path or not? Are you aligned? Are you misaligned? Behind every emotions that arise during the day, there is something your body, your consciousness is trying to tell you. When you feel angry at work or everywhere, probably like boundaries of yours have been crossed, right?
Mm.
So what does it tell you, that feeling of anger? It's saying like, hey, this is not right, this is not aligned with who I am. So what can I do to go back on track with your goals, with your mission, with your happiness? And it doesn't mean that you don't have to feel emotions to be aligned. You just have to have that conversation with those emotions to understand, because it's like it's a sort of guide, right? You go to work, then you feel you're working on a project, but you're feeling like, okay, sometimes there is something you have to do anyway. It's not everything great. But if you feel like this every day, so there is certainly something that you have to do, right? And just give me a second. Yes, I can maybe just add like another example. I think it's important because It's about the definition or the perception that we had about emotions. And so why, like, I'm calling them like data, right? I'm defining them as data. First of all, because you need to use like a definition that everyone within your environment can understand, and also to sort of catch the attention somehow. But it's not only because of that, it's because I've been taught since I was a kid that emotions are things that you have to control, you have to suppress. Especially as a woman, as a girl, whatever, it's like, okay, don't cry, don't be too passionate. And this is like a pattern that I've been seeing, as I said before, uh, everywhere, especially in the workplace and especially in the digital tech environment, right? So
Because it's not professional.
it's not professional. It's like, hey, emotions is not professional. When you reframe the emotions as data, because you study, you analyze from where emotions are coming from, and this is something that really blew my mind. When I started studying neuroscience, and I understood that there are actually chemical reaction in our body. So it's like, hey, so emotions are actually linked to science. It's not just like feelings and things in our mind and in our heart. So it is actually a scientific part of our body. The body is trying to telling us something. And I actually want to briefly touch upon the topic of the body, because this is something that I discovered thanks to the MBA we are both part of. When I took the course of the IC on mental health and well-being, there was a part about neuroscience, but also a part of your inner team, like the formies with, again, Catherine. You got the book.
She gave it as a gift to me. I'm very grateful.
That's nice. That's nice. I have it as well. So we have just like a very quick recap. The form is the inner team. It's our mind, our heart, our body, and then there is conscious me, which is a sort of the alignment, the core, if we want to talk about like what this podcast is about. Again, even in that IC, there was some magic. I'm sure that happened because it was meant to be happening for me in that very specific moment. I realized that I was with the sort of autopilot mode, and I was giving so much space to only my mind, because I thought that that was the only worthy thing to do. Like the mind is the most important part of ourself. So I, as well, after the maternity and a lot of things, it's you kind of forget the body and the heart as well. Is like again, back on the narrative, the emotions are not professional. You don't have to show them up, whatever. And I've been studying and practicing mindfulness for a few years as well. That's after the burnout. It was a sort of need. But again, a lot of things were like trying to understand the mind. In mindfulness, there is a big part about the body, right? It's being present, it's the breath that you have, but also like body scanning and the taste, and it's really being present in the moment with all the part that you have inside yourself. But then I don't know, during that I sort of rediscover it from a different perspective, like really giving credit to the body even more than the heart with the emotions. Because that was something that probably I already touched upon during the mindfulness course. I started doing a lot of sports. There was also specifically, I moved house last year in August. And I was living, I've been living in Barcelona city center for about 10 years. And then I moved like 40, 30 kilometers away from the city center. And I live like literally 5 minutes from the beach.
Beautiful.
I'm very, very lucky. So that changed a lot my life. I started feeling this need for running a lot, and I've been practicing a lot of sports since I was a kid. I was like doing swimming at a higher level as well, like national competition in Italy and those kind of things. And I've been trying a lot of sports. But then somehow, after the maternity, especially, and during work, because being back, you want to again showing, you forget your body. And I started feeling much better, but not because I was like getting stronger and uh, with a better looking, you feel a little bit more confident. But it was like it was opening energy. I don't know how to say. It's like it opened a door for my energy to get out. For me, the body was really, really an important and missing piece of my conscious me. That again is like the alignment among the inner team members.
I like where you went because you were first talking about the energy, and I think this is a key factor when when you know yourself more. This for team members, especially when okay, I'm not taking care enough of my body. When you just start having some few different routines or rituals, then your whole energy will be naturally high, right?
Yes. Yeah. You build habits, right?
Let's talk about Elevate, your AI power tool. Why did you create it? And what is unique about it?
Yeah, thanks for asking that question. I think it's a good space for me also to talk about it, to get some feedback, and yeah. um I think I also feel good talking about it, because it's like you sort of gain self-confidence, right, when you talk about something that you created. So, why I created it, I never thought I would be able to create any AI system. I actually, on the MBA, during the MBA, I choose three what are called impact certificates at Tomorrow University. That is basically the main track for your study, like a sort of specialization. So I choose mental health and well-being.
Like me.
Then human-centered AI, and then leadership and entrepreneurship mindset. I don't remember now the exact name, but that's what it is about. Because I basically wanted to learn a little bit more about AI. We know that this is the hot topic, and I was fearing it a lot. And as I like to control things, and I like to learn new things, because that's the sort of way where I feel like I'm a little bit more in control. uh, I wanted to study it. I wanted to learn, and with no expectations. To be honest, I didn't even know that I needed to create then my own AI system. I felt like, I don't know, this is not for me. I've never been a technical person, but I want to give it a try. And like me, a lot of people were there actually in their very first experience with AI. And there was this module, this capstone that we needed to give, like a challenge that we had, that was building an AI system. And I don't know, when you don't think that much about something and you just go with the flow, I thought, like, what is something that I like doing and that would be helpful for me? And really, without giving too much thoughts around it, I thought about journaling, because I've been writing journaling without calling it like journaling for, as you know, as far as I have memory about it, and as I learned actually writing. I actually have a lot of notebooks, and like literally this is one of them. Where I don't know, that was the way for me to express myself, to get out my emotions from my body, not to get rid of them, but to maybe decode what they were trying to tell me. Again, I was doing it in a very unconscious way. and I always been doing that, and it's not something that I had to set as a habit because now it's a fancy things to do, but because it was a need for me. I don't know, it just came to me naturally. Someone gave it to me when I was a kid, and then I started writing, and I write literally everywhere. When I don't have a paper, I started using the mobile phone, taking notes. Also because sometimes, and I'm gonna laugh about it, but sometimes it looks like I'm very professional. I'm taking notes, but I'm just, releasing some emotions. And so I thought, hey, why not? I'm gonna give it a try. Maybe this is something that it might be useful for other people. And why is different? Because of course, it's not just like you put down your thoughts, but it actually gives you some insights, some education, literacy about what your emotions are. And that was something that I missed in the past. Combining the two passions that I have, so journaling, writing, and then the neuroscience insights that I'm learning now, the somatic intelligence, the mindfulness. So it's like combining all of those elements in one tool that it's absolutely designed to raise awareness about the importance of emotions, to empower, to elevate the emotions through journaling, and people like experiencing that. So literally, like there is a sort of homepage, okay, where you feel like you start adding your tracks on how you feel. Like today, I'm feeling sad because I don't know, with all the news that I'm hearing, and I cannot really focus. I cannot really enjoy um, things like eating or just getting out, having a laugh, because there is so much pain in this world that I'm feeling like very, very overwhelmed. This is one of the entry that I've been using quite often lately. And then it basically I trained this AI system in a way that, of course, it's there is like a validation of your emotions, because every emotion, again, it is a valid one. It's trying to telling you something. And then I basically added like some of the knowledge, because it's still on MVP, on the knowledge that I have about neuroscience, about mindfulness, about the somatic intelligence. So it basically gives you validation for the emotion, then lets you know what is happening in your body, why you're feeling that way from a neuroscience standpoint. So you understand, for example, the energy, why you're feeling so down. It's normal if you feel sad, it's normal that you feel that way. Sometimes you also are able, and then you gain consciousness as well, awareness on your body. You're able to feel where this emotion actually is in your body. So you are even more able to release it, because it's so important to find a way to release that emotion. Otherwise, it keeps you like it keeps trapped in your body, and then you're gonna pay the bill for that. Today I'm not going to enter in that space, because it's not like I'm not an expert on it, not at all. But we talk about a lot about trauma. The most of the times trauma, it's an experience that we lived in the past. We weren't able to process it, to understand it, and to release it, so it stays in our body. And you can carry it on for even forever if you do nothing about it. So that's why it's important that you sort of decode, right, and you process those emotions. And then also so there is the neuroscience, then the somatic part. Again, like, you feel, how do you feel, the energy. There are a lot of studies where basically based on the emotion that you feel, it gives you exactly like where it is in the body. And then the part about the mindfulness, with even like exercises, mindfulness exercises for recorded with my voice, or it can be like even active mindfulness, because you know that mindfulness is not only like meditation or focus on the breath. It's actually some and that's the part that I'm most excited about, is like being present in the full moment, like in the present moment. When you do some activity, that it can be writing, it can be painting, it can be I'm thinking about shodo, like the Japanese writing, or it can be making pasta. This is something that it helps me a lot. When I make pasta, it's like I feel in the flow. Uh, and it can be literally everything. It can even be walking. You know, when you have a walk or you have your coffee, the most of the times you're not even aware of what you're doing. So there are like a lot of those kind of tips, and the desired outcome, it is actually to help people to increase their awareness um, for emotions, what they mean, how to release, and that eventually that will lead you to feel more alive, not being scared about you and your emotions. But if you're able to unlock that potential in yourself, then you feel so much better, so much aligned, so much it's not a constant fight for you with yourself, but you're actually in peace with yourself. And that's the very first step. If you want to spread peace, if you want to spread well-being, happiness, love, um, psychological safety in the workplace, or sustainability, the first stone that you have to put on that wall that you want to create, it's really peace within yourself.
Everything starts from within. He reminded me of Joe Dispenza. I don't know if you know him. He said, like, if you want to achieve anything in your life, yeah, my favorite book ever. Exactly. Yeah, so he focuses a lot on clear intention and elevated emotions. So you already talked about elevated emotions, and journaling by itself gives you more clarity.
And this was not prepared at all. So
Yes. There's a lot of fear around AI. How do you react? How do you talk to people who are afraid of AI and the changes that makes in the workplace in the future?
I've been fearing AI, as I said, and that's why I actually decided to understand it. And I think that's actually the key. If you fear it, like if you're scared about it, and you just leave it, like trying to deny the change that is already happening, it's an option that you have, right? But then why do you really fear it? I asked myself this question, and the answer was like, I'm afraid that this will dehumanize the world where we live in. So what I thought about might be wrong or not, I don't know, but it's like my thought is, if I do myself, if I use AI for good, because there are ways to use it for good, like to support, to enhance humans, and if there are more people using it for this purpose or creating AI for this purpose, then a better use of AI or a better world with AI is possible. But if everyone think this is not for me, or I just fear it, I don't want to use it, I don't want to know about it, then the bad guys will come and will make you use AI for bad. That's my take. It's like it's better you give it a try in a good way, and you are aware of humans and our superpower, so to use it against or with AI. We fear AI because we are afraid of a non-human world. But then what do we do really to be more humans, to be more human? Because we also fear being human. We also fear to show our vulnerability and our emotions. We are not able to use it as a superpower. And emotions and humanity is a superpower that AI cannot replace. Because even if they will be able to do things as we do, they won't be skin and bones and blood. We are humans. We've been facing so many changes.
Roberta, can you share an example of an emotion you used to suppress, but then turned out to be a superpower?
The first emotion that came to my mind when you asked the question, it was anger. But I prefer not to talk about anger because I think that there is so much about anger nowadays, which is very, very important, and it has been part of my life. I will say, specifically in the workplace, tenderness. I've been suppressing a lot the sweetest part of myself at work because I was afraid of being labeled as unprofessional. Because sometimes being angry, it might be linked to like a good manager. Men usually are angry. So that's why I want to link it to some emotion that is more typically about the woman, and it's very typical of me, especially after like becoming a mom. Sometimes being a manager is also means actually you're a sort of mom, a psychologist, I don't know, a nurse, and a lot of times I've been suppressing that sort of instinct to, I don't know, give maybe not a hug but like put a hand in the shoulder, or just to show that sweetness, that tenderness, like it's okay, don't worry, those kind of words. Because, well, you're afraid in the workplace there are so many things that you have to be scary of what you say, how you say. Tenderness and sweetness, yes, that's for sure something that I've been suppressing. And then when I started instead showing it in a professional way, that's for sure, because there are boundaries that you have to protect, right? You cannot really cross. I felt I was actually a better leader. I was there for people. The leaders that I remember the most, and I've been changing a lot of managers because that's part of tech world, like changing manager every, sometimes even couple of months, um, are the people who shared and showed their vulnerability. I'm still in touch with them, or they just taught me something. And I trusted them more than people who, they were like very, very cold, maybe being ready, giving every answer, whatever. But then in the end, weren't able to say, you know what, today is not the best day, or I'm angry, I'm tired, I'm sad, I'm whatever, or even you disappointed me or whatever, I'm mad at you, I don't know, but just to say something, to share that part, and then you have a conversation because it's okay. Every emotion is okay, right?
Mm. Something that I'm thinking of is the needs-based communication on non-violent communication. I would say, okay, I'm angry, but I wouldn't say I'm angry at you. I would say I'm mad, but I wouldn't say I'm mad at you. Just saying what happened, right? And then saying how I feel, it doesn't lead to any kind of fight in the end. What do you think about that?
I think there was someone actually asking the question, so are you saying that we are allowed to express every emotions? How do you cope with strong emotions such as anger or violence? Because when you feel angry, sometimes you feel like you would like to be more violent because you feel this energy, like you want to punch someone. My recommendation, of course, was you first have to validate your emotion, you understand it, you actually have a 90 seconds window to go back to your normal state, right? So if you're aware of it,
Maybe you can clarify what is this 90 seconds, because maybe someone who is listening doesn't know what is it.
yeah, absolutely. So it is actually linked to the chemical reaction that I was mentioning before about the emotions. So usually, like you have 90 seconds where your body is creating that reaction in your body. So you feel, for example, when you are angry because something happened, you're feeling that energy, like you wanna kill somebody, you wanna push somebody, you wanna break something. From a biological standpoint, it is 90 seconds. Your body is showing, right, that energy. You're feeling that energy. So if you're aware of those of this process, you can also turn it in your advantage. You can control it, you can manage, you can regulate it. So you know that you need a couple of minutes to go back more or less to the normal state. You can definitely breathe. You take a pause. If you can get out of the room, you get out of the room. Sometimes it's not even possible, but you can always have a pause. Start thinking, start feeling your body going back to the normal, especially with the breath. Okay, like very deep, especially that will really help you. And then when you're ready, there are lots of things that you can actually do, especially apply in the workplace environment. So the first technique that I was sharing with you in the workshop, it was actually name it to tame it. You validate that emotion, then you can control it better. Just name it to tame it. That's also very famous from Brené Brown, who is a very, very famous researcher, especially on emotions, vulnerability. Um, and then the second one is like, how do you reframe? How do you communicate? Because the first technique, it's more for you to regulate yourself. But how do you communicate it to your peers, to the people you are talking with? So there is a technique that is actually like feel, need, invite. And it is like giving you the structure to communicate the emotion. Because as I said, it is important to validate it and to also communicate it, not suppressing it. Every emotion. So you feel it, as I was saying. It's like, okay, I'm feeling, and like literally, you can even use the words, I'm feeling. Hello, Omar. I'm feeling. I'm putting like an example. I'm feeling disappointed today because we had that meeting. The need, because we had a meeting. You didn't inform me before about like the new deadline that we had, and I'm really making it right now. And, and then you invite. So we express the feeling, I feel like this, the need, because you didn't communicate with me the deadline, so I wasn't aware. And I invite you the next time, okay, to communicate with at least a week in advance about that deadline. Otherwise, I won't be able to meet the deadline. So there are ways, right? And it's more like the more you practice it, the more like it comes naturally to you.
This is something I'm grateful for. After having the workshop with you, I started practicing it. I was fearing communicating something with someone I'm doing a project with. And I was like, if I say it, we might either have a fight, or I don't want to also suppress it, not talking about it. But I just made this practice. I said, what happened? How did I feel? And what do I need? And it was like, I felt in peace, and he understood it. And the whole thing that I was overthinking about, it went very smoothly after. Yeah.
I'm very glad you applied it already.
Thank you, Roberta. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about, but you deem important?
It's about like the importance of being yourself and your uniqueness somehow, which is linked, of course, to like the emotions, to how you feel, the person you are. into the importance of gaining awareness on emotions themselves, right? It's like it's an inner journey. It's not something that happens from one day to another just because you know what is anger, what is sadness, what is happiness. It's something you really need to integrate. I think integration is actually the word I would like to talk about. It's like it's like when you learn something new and then or when you read a book and then you leave it on the shelf and you sort of forget it. Uh, that's why it's so important to integrate the learning, walking the talk somehow, which is what I'm doing right now in this phase of my life, of my career. I'm trying to be the person I always admired. It takes courage and being bold to be yourself and to follow your mission, your path, your why. Step by step, little by little, you will see the change. You will notice it until one day something will happen that you didn't know. But I can tell you that will be for you because it's the right time for you.
Coming back to this serendipity, as you say, when you change, how you have so many opportunities that you are not expecting is something that's beautiful and you can only experience. Like some people might doubt it, but you can just explore. Imagine it's 2030. If all leaders led from their core and prioritize mental health, how would the workplace be?
Yeah, that's the future of work, right? I'm afraid I don't have like the right question, the right answer to that. Of course, I can tell you what I will be working on to make that vision that I have happen. I imagine a workplace thinking about tech where we realize of the importance of humans, that every solution, every product that we launch to market are made for people to use that. So if we think about that, it's like you really need to put the people in the center of everything you do. Because you designed, you think those products with the people in the center. And people are not, or not yet, robots. We won't create products made from AI for other AIs because they won't be able to pay. There will be people. At least in 5 years, that's for sure. I hope so. But that's the way I envision it. I envision like a also workplace where there is a great awareness about burning out, about working for purpose, and not just because we need to keep going. There are so many things that are happening nowadays, and people are so much done with everything that is happening that is like there are so many people like in this sort of awakening process. They It's not just burnout because of a high demanding job. It's burnout because we are not aligned anymore. We are not doing things that create a good impact on other people, on the world. So at a certain point, you just don't have the strength to wake up and keep doing what you were doing before.
Roberta, I asked you all the questions that I was preparing, at least now. Is there any final message or anything that you'd like to share with those who are listening?
Well, first of all, I would say I'm very open. So reach out if you want to speak with me. If you want to have a chat, whatever. I have much more free time right now. I will be working on my solo entrepreneur path, but I'm very, very curious about you, people listening to this podcast. If this resonates with you somehow, please feel free to get in touch
On LinkedIn.
on LinkedIn. Absolutely. And I was actually thinking about like an exercise that we did, and I felt a bit awkward. But this saying it loud. I'm a change maker. That was powerful because, as you do with emotions, if you name it, you tame it. Maybe if you name it, it is true. You know, it's like it, or it becomes true. It's like you manifest it. You really believe in it. So that's like the sort of message that I want to leave. Like, believe your value, your uniqueness. It is actually a value. So please bring that to the world because we really need it. Believe in yourself. And this is not just a made word, it's something that I've been missing for too long. And I want to say that again. I am a change maker.
I am a change maker.
Yes.
Roberta, I'm very grateful that that we are in contact, that we had this podcast together. I'm grateful also how excited you are to do this podcast with me, and how you share your how you shared your emotions, and you were vulnerable, and you said like how did you feel, and even that you cried at some times in your career. And of course you shared your knowledge about AI and how to connect it with mental health and mindfulness. And I wish you all the best with everything that's coming in the future.
Thank you so much, Omar.
If you have enjoyed this podcast, feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn and to follow the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and all other major platforms. Enjoy every moment. Until next time.